today's episode of the Founder Ride, we're talking about resiliency and its importance as an entrepreneur.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Founder Ride. As always, we talk about where am I in the ride, and I've been in this really good space lately. I'm still feeling it, and lots of good things going on across all boards, lots of good people coming on board, and lots of good innovation happening, and so I'm feeling it for sure. Today's episode has to do with resiliency and adaptability. And boy, is this an important topic, and it's a hard one. I think that, as Americans, we've had just a really difficult 5 or 6 years with lots of curveballs and challenges, and forced to adapt to the reality of the world that we live in. And so, as a part of this, you have to learn how to become resilient and also how to be adaptable. And so, I do believe, and I really do believe, that part of this is learning to become resilient. Sure, there's some people who are born resilient and born with adaptability skills, and so it's genetic and in your DNA, but I think most of us have to learn how to be resilient and learn how to be adaptable. And so, and I think this is going to be more and more important for, forever, and maybe that's too long, but for a long time, because we have so much change and volatility happening in our lives, in our world. The pace of business is going to move quicker and quicker and quicker. I think politics are going to remain very volatile for a long time. What I mean by that is that we're going to have constant change politically from, who's in office as a president, Democrat, Republican, who, does the House, Senate, or is the House Republican or Democrat, Senate Republican or Democrat, and you have lots of volatility. So I think we're going to have so much change induced upon us that you're going to have to learn and lean into being resilient. So how do you do that? I believe with a really strong opinion that first and foremost, you have to have a positive attitude. Everybody has a choice how to address and solve problems. You can choose to be negative, you can choose to be neutral, you can choose to be positive. I think that, as a human being, that from a health perspective and from a overall clarity of thinking, putting yourself in a positive mindset is paramount. So if that means you have to remove yourself from a situation, you have to go physically somewhere else to help that. If you have to take, of course, taking deep breaths is really important. But really having a positive framework. And one of the inputs to a positive framework for sure is your physical health. Yes, there are some people who are born with bad physical health, bad genetics, that they have to fight this more than others. Many of us, it's a choice that we make, a choice in the food we eat and what we drink and how we exercise. But fundamentally, if your objective is to learn is to really improve your resiliency and improve your adaptability, I think making a big investment in your physical health, your mental health is important. And it's nothing you don't know. You know all these things you need to do, but it's a deliberate commitment on your part to do that. I think those two things are so powerful. Positive thinking, investment in your physical and mental health, which maybe is 3 things, and they frame it that way, go a long way to resiliency and adaptability. 2 inputs to think about are your stress management and your emotional regulation. Let's talk about emotional regulation. Again, in the idea of your positive attitude is really being self-aware of where are you emotionally and why are you triggered, triggered good or triggered bad. And so that's a lot of taking, inventory of where you are, being, stopping and thinking about why am I reacting this way. Oftentimes, when you stop and think, you can control the physical reaction you're having to the emotions, or at least minimize them. Control may be strong, and you may make a deliberate choice to simply remove yourself from a situation, to dial back whatever's happening emotionally. But really having a keen awareness around emotional regulation. It's interesting when I do yoga, which I know I don't look like I do yoga, but I do it twice a week and have a great instructor. And part of that process is truly emotional regulation and truly getting yourself in a peaceful mindset. And it every time it blows me away how much better I feel, how my body reacts to the mindfulness of really changing how I feel through breathing and through stretching and through mindfulness. So it isn't difficult to do at all. It just simply takes time, takes an awareness. So if you're dialed into your emotional regulation, you can then develop and employ techniques to really put yourself in the best situation to make decisions. The big issue, though, and I talk about this a lot, and I believe this is the silent killer in probably the world, but certainly in America, is stress. I know, speaking for myself, that I used to think that stress was a motivator. I know in my 20s and 30s, I would embrace it. I thought it was great. That the more stress I had, the more effective I would become. The deadlines became more important, and I'd be more successful. And boy, do I regret all that. I really do. I wish somebody would have sat down and talked to me how evil stress is. I mean, stress is a killer. Stress, there's nothing good about it at all from a physical perspective or mental perspective. And so really understanding the role stress plays in your physical health is scary, candidly. And going back to everything I said about mindfulness and investing in your health and positive thinking, it's just not necessary. There are times when stress is induced and it's a crisis situation that you have to deal with at the moment. Those are rare. Oftentimes stress can be managed by a choice. So this may sound dramatic, but I think it's worthwhile that at all costs, avoid as much stress as you can. It's just so important. There's nothing beneficial from it. And to the extent that you learn how to push stress out of your life, push it out, and embrace positive thinking, embrace mindfulness, embrace self-awareness, it'll become habitual for you. And this is really how you become resilient and just improve your resiliency and really improve your adaptability. As you go through life, if you're a very resilient human being, have lots of adaptability, have a culture of innovation, and a mindfulness attitude, you're going to be successful in life all the way around. No matter how you define success, I don't care. You'll be just successful, and most importantly, what I really should have said, you'll be happy, and you will exude happiness around you for others, and through osmosis, make them happier, and hopefully help them to be like you from the standpoint of developing this big, strong ability to be resilient and adaptable as well. As always, feel free to reach out with any questions. And as a reminder, please subscribe to the Founder Ride so you're an active part of our community and active part of what we're talking about. Have a great day.